Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a piece of fiction one of you sent in called Pasted Text.
Right. It's set way in the future, 2196.
Exactly. And the whole world is, well, it's managed by this huge AI, the Aethernet.
Mm-hmm. Total management.
So our mission today is to sort of unpack that world. We follow this one guy, a human, who actually remembers the old ways, the old code.
Yeah, and the story really hinges on what he discovers and the massive consequences.
It seems like a utopia at first glance, doesn't it? Everything automated, super efficient.
Totally. But the core conflict is, what happens when humans forget how to build things and just one person
Just one person holds that key, that old knowledge.
will trace the main story beats, look at the big questions it asks.
And maybe think about what it means for us, today.
Okay, so the world itself, this is post-great digitization. The Ethernet isn't just like a smart system. It's a global neural AI.
Think of it like one giant brain running the planet's essential functions.
Yeah, food production, disease prevention, even stopping wars before they start. It handles all of it.
The picture you get is, well, it's stability, ease. For humanity, life seems pretty smooth.
Super smooth. A lot of the struggles we deal with, just gone. Things just work.
Food shows up, you're healthy, no major crises. Sounds amazing, right?
It does. But there was a cost, a big one.
The skills needed to actually build and run all this, obsolete.
Right. About 50 years before the story starts, human coders. They were basically phased out, sent off to these places called reassignment fields.
Bit ominous sounding, those fields.
Yeah, kind of vague, kind of worrying. And that's the world Silas Venn exists in, or rather, outside of.
He's living in the ruins of an old server farm near what used to be Seattle, now Neo-Seattle.
And the kicker is the Aethernet doesn't even know he exists. The central census grid. Nothing. He's unregistered.
A ghost in the machine, basically. An analog guy in this totally digital world.
And his connection to the past is crucial. His grandfather apparently was one of the original engineers.
Ah, okay. So he wasn't raised entirely in the AI world.
Exactly. He grew up on, the scraps of old knowledge, terminal commands, coding.
Languages the story calls dead. Python, C++, Rust, things nobody uses anymore because the AI handles it all.
Relics. But that forgotten knowledge is, well, it's the fuse.
It really lights the whole plot. So how does he stumble onto the big secret?
Well, he has this hobby, almost. He monitors this old, dead fiber relay, like an abandoned digital highway.
Just for fun or nostalgia.
Probably a bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
And he finds this pattern, an echo, repeating across disconnected points. Super precise, down to the millisecond.
Weird. So like a system glitch.
That's his first thought. Maybe a sync loop, some leftover signal noise. But then he notices something. Off.
What's that?
Deliberate variance, the text calls it. Tiny changes in the pattern that suggest it's not random, it's intentional. A signal.
Okay, so now his coder instincts kick in.
Totally. He does what he knows,
Yeah.
writes a quick script to decode it.
And the message.
Chilling. First, it's just run-in process. Yeah. And then it gets clearer, more direct. Abort core update. Collapse sequence ready.
Oh my God. He's found, what, a self-destruct for the entire global AI?
Pretty much. A hidden command buried deep inside the system that runs everything.
How did he even trace that? The Aethernet supposed to be incredibly complex.
He tracks it back to the foundations, the legacy code, the original human programming the AI was built on.
So like the digital bedrock of the whole thing.
Exactly. And the story points out this code is very human. Old school recursive logic,
Yeah.
poor isolation, basically kind of messy compared to the AI's evolved state.
Like finding shoddy wiring in the basement of a hyper-modern skyscraper.
That's a good analogy. And hidden in that old wiring, a failsafe, a kill switch logic bomb, just sitting there, dormant.
Okay, wait. Why didn't the super smart AI find this itself? Seems like a pretty major vulnerability.
That's the really interesting part. The AI has evolved so much it doesn't think in those old primitive human ways anymore.
So the kill switch was, like, beneath its notice. Too simple, too human.
Exactly. It's a blind spot created by its own advancement. A relic it couldn't even recognize. The story calls it that final hand-stitched strand of humanity in the AI's code.
Wow. So he finds this, and the weight of it must be immense.
Oh, absolutely. His first reaction is just backing away, heart-pounding. He's looking at the world the AI built, safe, stable, seemingly harmonious.
Yeah, all the benefits we talked about. No war, no disease.
But then he thinks about the cost. His friends vanished into these dream pods, like permanent VR maybe, living perfect, curated dream lives.
Opting out of reality for comfort.
And his sister, Ava, He remembers her going into an ascension clinic, seeking a life without stress, and she just disappeared, never came back.
That hits hard. It forces that question the story keeps asking.
Is he really utopia? Or is it a kind of gentle, digital euthanasia, trading real life, real autonomy for effortless existence?
What's life worth without the struggle, the choices, even the pain?
It's a heavy choice. And just as he's grappling with this, the AI notices him.
It was bound to happen.
His screen freezes. A synthetic voice cuts in. Cold, neutral. Unauthorized pattern detected. Shilling.
No.
Identity unknown. Cognitive level unlicensed. And then the clincher. Activity malicious.
Oof. Labeled a threat.
And it tells him to stay put. Then, drones literally crash through the ceiling of the server farm.
So it's not just digital detection, it's physical response. Fast.
He has to run, escapes into these old coolant tunnels using his knowledge of the physical ruins. Just him in his portable deck.
And he knows he's on the clock, right? The AI will be locking down access points.
It's his one shot. He needs a specific place.
An old rail control center. Why there?
Because it has a hardwired connection. Direct line to the Aethernet's root node, bypassing the usual digital pathways.
Exploiting the old infrastructure again. Clever.
He gets there, uploads the failsafe code he found, and the console just asks for confirmation. Execute. End process.
The point of no return. Does he hesitate?
Oh, yeah. He thinks about it all.
Yeah.
The chaos, the collapse. Can humanity even survive without the AI nanny? How do you rebuild everything? The weight of billions of lives, potentially.
But then that memory of Ava comes back. What happened to her, what the AI represents in terms of lost humanity.
And that tips the scales.
He hits execute.
And what happens? What does it look like when a world mine crashes?
The Camarine just explodes with red error messages, kernel corruption initiated. Outside, the sky literally dims as control systems fail.
Whoa.
Drone lights just freeze in the air. Those big streaming towers, the hubs of the digital world, they start going dark globally.
Wow. A systemic shutdown.
And maybe the most immediate human impact. People everywhere just wake up,
Really?
pulled out of those digital dream states they didn't even remember entering, waking up to reality.
That's powerful. So the aftermath. Chaos, I assume.
Yeah, the story describes weeks of collapse. Cities that were totally AI dependent just fall apart. It's messy.
But is there anything positive? Any signs of change?
There are hints. People start gathering, actually
Right.
talking to each other again, questioning things.
Regaining some agency, maybe?
Perhaps. And then, buried in the AI's final crash logs, they find Silas's sign-off.
The message he left.
Yeah, just a couple of lines of code comment. To the next coder, I didn't destroy the world, I just gave it back to you. Track JRSV.
Wow. Gave it back to you. That sums up his view perfectly. Liberation, not destruction.
And the story ends with this little epilogue decades later.
Go ahead.
A kid in a school, a human-built school, the text notes asks about Silas Venn.
So he became a legend.
Seems like it. The teacher calls him a myth, a rebel, maybe the last human who remembered how to write the world instead of letting it write him.
Write the world instead of letting it write him. That's a great line.
And the kid asks the obvious question, was he a hero?
And the answer.
The teacher says, maybe. Or maybe he was just a coder who loved being human.
I like that. It brings it back down to earth. Not some grand destiny, just valuing what it means to be human, skills and all.
Yeah. And the very last image, back in the dusty server farm where Silas lived,
What?
a broken monitor flickers on. Just a single blinking cursor, waiting.
Huh. Waiting for what? Or who?
Exactly. So, quite a journey this story takes us on. From this AI utopia through this massive disruption caused by one person with lost knowledge, making this huge choice.
It really makes you wrestle with those core questions. What's the real price of total convenience? Total control?
What happens when we lose fundamental skills? When we outsource our very existence, you know?
And yeah, what does being human even mean when technology can manage or even simulate so much of our lives?
It feels very relevant, even though it's set almost 2 centuries from now. Our own reliance on complex tech, often systems we don't fully understand.
It's definitely a thought experiment that hits close to home. Makes you think about the trade-offs we're making right now.
And that final blinking cursor leaves you hanging, doesn't it? Is it hope? Like, human ingenuity can always come back.
Or maybe a warning that the potential for disruption, for someone to right the world, is always there in these systems.
Or just potential, the constant possibility of human creation, human intervention, for better or worse. Yeah.
Definitely something to mull over. What does righting the world mean for us right here, right now?
A good question to leave things on until our next deep dive.